The other night, probably night 32 of the Portland protest, 32, 33, they were acting up again on North Interstate and North Lombard here in Portland, Oregon. I was out there recording the night, the activities that were taking place, and pretty soon I heard someone coming through the crowd saying, "Give me an A, hey, give me an oh, if you can hear me, holler back."
Subject you to arrest and force to include crowd control munitions. Move to the east.
Let me talk! I turn the camera around and I see this young lady walking up. And so I want to ask her, what were you doing there in the middle of this protest gathering on that night?
Yeah, I don't know. I was there. So I got a phone call from a cousin of mine who said, "Okay, you guys be careful on your way home. They're protesting again." And like something in my core just said, "All right, that's it. You know, and you just take the down and slam it down. Like I've had enough." You know. And so I said, "You know, I'm going to that. I'm going." And she's like, "Oh God, like I don't like a phone call. Something happened." And I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be just fine." The friend, my buddy I was with, didn't have the slightest clue where we were going. And so when I got there, I seen all the people. And I noticed that there were very few black people there. And I seen that there were garbage cans being thrown all over the place. And people were, you know, yelling and cussing. I too, and it was just frustration. The vibe, the spirit there was just so dark, you know. And I knew that there were other people driving, cars honking, trying to get through. And it was just like I had had enough. And I was trying to get everyone to calm down, just to calm down and stop and like rationally think about it. You know, I learned that you can't always react, but you can respond to situations. And so I feel as though that was a reaction. They were reacting to whatever it was that they were dealing with, whether it was because we couldn't have the gay pride parade, or if it was because of Black Lives Matter, or if it was just a bunch of people that had other things going on internally that just wanted to have a behavioral moment. And also, too, not to discredit, right? Like, I value the people that went out and protested. I value the ones that were actually out there legitimately saying, "Hey, no, look, we're doing this because laws have changed, statutes have changed, people are changing because we're doing this." And it kind of reminded me of like shock art. You know, when you look at art, you'll walk out in the middle of nowhere and you'll see like this huge, like a naked Jesus of a chocolate fountain. You know, and it was just to get the artists that did it just to get people's response, right? And it was shocking, but yet captivating. And so I give credits to those that were out there protesting with a reason and a purpose, because one thing anybody that will tell you that knows me, I'll fight behind what's right, but I'll die behind what I believe in. So if that's something that everybody that was, or most of the majority of that was there, did that out of their belief, their course foundation, I applaud them. But there's another way to go about it, and that's to respond to it. Let's look at the bigger picture, and that's what I was trying to get everyone's attention to, just stop for a second, because if we're doing this for the human race, let's think about the officers that have badges right now. I can name a couple of them that are not black, that would never shoot a black person intentionally to kill them, right? And so if you want to be heard, then you can't. My grandmother always told me that the quieter you speak, the more people will listen, you know. And so that being said, going out and protesting and getting your voice heard does not mean tipping over trash cans and you know, cussing people out and being frustrated and throwing bottles of like urine, and it was some nasty stuff going on out there in previous protest events I haven't went to, but I've heard about them. And I've always kind of like stepped back, like nobody's gonna listen to me, you know, like whatever. And I don't know, I used to teach at a beauty school that was predominantly Vietnamese students, and they didn't speak very much English, but I was able to get them to learn. I was able to assist them in learning, and they actually graduated. So I felt like there must be some type of unique gift that God gave me to use for people.
So when you got there, I started recording you. You started going to the crowd, and at that particular moment, the police had their loudspeaker on, and you were like, "Hey, I have the mic now. It's my turn," and you started in, and then from there you proceeded up onto the steps of, I think it was a furniture store.
Yeah, Aaron's furniture store.
So could you take us through some of these moments of what you experienced and felt in some of these, I'd say, high tense moments, because you had people in your face with the flag and the sticks, and
you see that?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So. Let me get some water. So that moment, I remember that because, in fact, I look back and I was kind of chuckle now because it was quite funny with my reaction. It was like the zealous confidence aspect of me, as far as my personality, just came out like mama bear mode. And the guy had this stick with the black flag on it, trying to hit the camera, the lens to the camera. And I was like, oh no, we can't have that, And my thing was just I strong-armed him and got the stick away and kind of shoved him back, get off of me, And everybody was all up in, the social distancing, I used it to my advantage, back up, I need you to give me 50 feet. E40's got this song called 6 Feet, and so I thought about that when I said it, I'm gonna need you to back up, just give me some space and get out of my face, because it was oh, how does she come in here? We've been out here for days, And
I have bled in these streets. I have relatives that have bled in these streets. You guys, it is not about
BlackLivesMatter.
Excuse my
Police.
Black Lives Matter. But I'm a
Police.
ignorance don't though.
The
Black
police.
Lives Matter.
Fuck the police.
That's
Fuck the
ignorance.
police.
You understand me?
They kill me.
That right there is an
They kill me.
example of what
Fuck
ignorance
them.
is. You
They
hear me?
kill me.
Because I have relatives that died. I have friends and associates that are officers. If you ever in your life, you know what time it is.
The police.
I need you to
Fuck the
get out of my face.
police.
I'm aware.
Fuck the police.
Back up out of my face. Back up off my face. Back up out my face. As I was saying, excuse me. I've bled in these. I know what it's like to starve. I know what it's like. My cousin was by a security guard. You understand me? But that at the end of the day, I don't go around making the right to take it out on everybody else. These officers give a damn about these black people. They care about black people.
They don't give a damn about black people.
I care right now for all of the
You guys don't. Police.
Respect because these people risk their lives every single day, dying out here to protect us. Just the other day, it was the United States.
Fuck the police. And I mean with a scope. I should keep my scope. Hey. Fuck the police. I go get my scope and weed. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. Fuck the police. And anybody that ride with them, fuck their ass too. They can get blown up too.
Some type of what is the word I'm looking for? They felt
Empowered?
Yeah, obligated. Or they had some kind of right over me to get her versus me. And the moment they got in front of the camera, they just had a tantrum. It was okay, now you're in front of the camera and you're trying to poke the lens out of it. What does that have to do with the black life right now? I'm waiting, and it was nothing, so I just had to shut that down real quick and move on to the next fire and put that one out,
Well, you was putting out a lot of fires that night, because, just even in that situation, you had probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 people in different moments. I remember there was 2 black guys, one was, and you turn around to both of them, and you had a couple of white kids, and like you said, with the flag, and then eventually someone grabbed the camera.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of the news stations here in town.
Yeah, I think it was 8, wasn't it?
Okay, it might have been 8. And like you said, you're going from fire to fire, putting things out. And then I remember you went into the street, and at this moment, the police said, we have now declared this a riot, and they said we are going to shoot tear gas.
Yeah.
And your back was facing the police officers at this point. And I was in front of you, and I said, they're shooting tear gas. I've been in the middle of tear gas, okay? And so I had to back up because I know what that stuff does.
Yeah.
You stayed there, and so what happened after that?
Disperse the area now. CS gas is being used. Disperse from the area.
These officers here in Portland,
Disperse the area now.
Watch out, they're shooting gas.
Disperse from the area. Disperse the area now. See if gas is being used. Disperse from the area.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was just reliving it in my head, and I remember you got like you did the most sincere gesture to get my attention, like, hey, this is tear gas, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. It didn't dawn on me. It was like, okay, but I have something to say, you know, like I'm not done talking. I felt interrupted, and it's like, it's just, you know, if that part alone, I'm very stubborn in ways when I try to get something out. And I felt as though that was interrupting, and it was like with the tear gas that I needed to get people to hear exactly. They were starting to cooperate and take steps back, but although I don't know how long they had been there, because this was like they had been going on for quite some time, right? Like I got there maybe closer towards the middle end of it.
They usually go all night.
Yeah.
This was probably an hour and a half into being there at this point.
Wow, see, that was pretty live then, and at a climax of the event, and I don't know well, first of all, it felt like all I remember was seeing, like, you know, when 4th of July, the fireworks, and you see like the stream of like smoke in the sky, right, and so I like seeing like this cloud of stuff, and I always wear prescription glasses, but I didn't have them on, and I'm like, am I tripping? Wait, that's right, that's gas. And so like I start choking, and it felt more or less like pepper spray. It wasn't like there was a little extra, you know, you will hear the scream, like it was this wretched scream that I had never screamed before, hence as to why my voice is gone. But I was doing a lot of yelling overall, trying to get heard over people. But it was intense, that moment right there. I got in my car, and I remember trying, because they were like, no, this is it. And so I was trying to reverse. I don't know if the police may have thought when I first pulled up on scene, like if I'm just somebody like another one, you know, and I'm trying to reverse my car, but my AC was on. So you have all that gas coming in the vents. Mm-hmm. And I remember like, I cannot, like a panic, okay? So I'm extra about everything, and I got out, and I'm like, it's burning. And I remember some people are hollering medic, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, get back, leave me alone, don't touch me. You know, like, they can't take me away now, I'm just now getting hurt. And that's when a gentleman a white guy came and brought me a bottle of water, and a gal was standing there too and asked, well, what do you want me to do with this? I'm like, well, no, just pour it on me. And so they're like, well, here, you do it. They were scared to get a black girl's hair wet. You know, I've never get a black woman's hair wet. And so I had poured it on my face, and I felt instant relief once the water hit me. I was able to, it wasn't like pepper spray where it keeps burning, right, you know. And so as I'm walking off trying to talk to other people, because at first I didn't want any water, I didn't want nothing on me, and another gal came up, a protester, was like, no, here, you need to let me rinse your eyes, and I'm like, no, they're fine, I'm completely okay, and they started burning. I'm like, yeah, rinse my eyes, go ahead. So, yeah.
So then I came back after the smoke and tear gas kind of cleared. I came back, and you was between, at this point, you was between the protesters and the line of officers walking toward, they were going eastbound on Lombard, walking toward Interstate.
Yeah.
And you, at that point, you was, like I said, you was between the protesters and the police, and two of the protesters came out with, like, newspaper stands or garbage cans.
Yeah.
And
like, what was that? Okay, so excuse me, because that was one of the moments where my language got a little bit left, because it was like, you know, when you tell, like, I have kids too, so I'll reference to that, not to say anybody's immature or anything, but there were some immature actions, but they're adults. So granted, I'm seeing, first there was bottles flying and stuff left and right, and I'm thinking, okay, I am in the trenches here. But when I looked and seeing them dragging the Oregonian, or today's paper stand, and it was two, it was a green one and a red one, and they were already chained together, so they're dragging them into the middle of the street, and I'm like, now what in the heck would you do that for? What does that have to do with a black life? Please explain to me, because I'm still trying to figure it out. If you don't get this, and then so they dipped off, because the police, that line, I mean, it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger's times 100, and they were all consistently moving in sync. It was quite impressive. I felt like it was the drill team on steroids, because they had it going on. And I was like, wait a minute, oh, they're coming. So I'm like, well, wait. So I try to help, and I'm like, I need some help here. And so one person tried to help me, and I just looped it around and drug it to a standpoint of where I thought was far enough out of the way, which it wasn't, but I wasn't going to try and break my back or anything. I'm just like, it's enough. That'll work. We don't do that, you know. It was just like, that's what I'm talking about. This is what I'm here to stop, you know, like, and I wanted people to see the interactions. I wanted to mediate both sides. And for me, as a member in this community, and having the opportunity to have experienced both sides before in life, at this point, it's bigger than just being black or white. It's bigger than not being heard, you know, and what does that look like? I just lost my train of thought as I was talking just now, because it just skipped my mind, and I'll come back to it. But I wanted people to know that the police weren't there to hurt, you know, like they weren't there to try to inflict pain. They weren't there to try to do wrong. They were there, and if the protesters would have gone about it appropriately and sought out the licensure and stuff that they needed to, they could have had them as escorts, right, and not on defense. And so at this point, it's not just an offense-defense kind of thing, but only because they were pushed into that. You know, if these were the officers, and we're talking about Portland Police here, right? Whereas if these were officers that were going to shoot a black man, like, and let me just say this for the record, like, what they did to those black people that were shot and killed down, it was horrible. You know, I'm not discrediting that, but again, let's look at the bigger picture here. Not every black man is going to rape every white woman, and not every white officer is going to shoot a black man. And that's something that people have to realize, that these officers have kids they have to go home to. You know, they have wives and husbands, or a cat or a dog, or just the fact that they're human, right? And they want to get up tomorrow and serve again. You know, and to do that, it's like ushering in a church. I ushered for a very long time, and I remember when I got saved, I said, Lord, if I could just clean the toilets of the church, I promise I will give my life to you. And my desire to just clean the toilets in a church bathroom was such a burning, relentless desire. I could never put it in enough words. And that moment was when I gained my humility for Christ, you know, and serving people, picking up snotty tissues and rags, and you know, helping them out in and out of the church, no matter how bad my feet hurt. So looking at that as the guys in blue, you know, my mom had a drug bust when we were little, you know, and they came in with guns going and stuff, but I'm still alive and breathing. I can honestly say today that the officers that I've met, their intent is not to kill a black person. I'm not saying all officers, I'm saying the ones, especially here in Portland, you know, that there's a certain respect level that they have. That's what I was going to say. Thank you very much. So it's like in the community, when you have the officers wanting to be acknowledged in the community and respected, and then you have the people in the community wanting to be heard and respected. It's like the love languages, right? Like men want to be respected to give love, and women want to feel loved to give respect. And it's like this never-ending battle. However, somebody has to be logical enough to sit down, and we have community meetings. Well, before COVID, I worked for a nonprofit. They had community meetings all the time over in the precinct, where we would sit down and talk to PPD and talk about the gang violence and the numbers and how they're going up and what they can do to make things better. And that's when you find a common ground with someone and you use that, right? Like I had an officer friend, Officer Bertlet here in PPD, that I met him by trying to help somebody else, and he helped me by encouraging me. But he found a common ground. He found something that we both had in common, and that was to see the streets do better, to do better ourselves, and to help one another. And with that being said, like that's what ignited the fire, and that's what burned. So as long as, and I wanted to be that for that moment. That's why I was there. I wanted to be that common ground for the protesters. I wanted to be that common ground for the police. And I remember begging them, like, please just stop. Please just wait a minute. Let me just talk to them. And then I'd run back to the other side and try to, listen, you guys, I got them holding off for a minute, but it can only go for so much longer. Just wait, please. You guys listen and just take a step back. You take 4 steps back. I promise they will take one more. And it worked for a minute, and then I don't know what happened.
Right.
But yeah.
So from that, and there's some more things I want to ask you. We're going to get deeper into this, but from that, I saw you have a little interview with the Caucasian lady over by the gas station.
Oh yeah.
Now, how did that go? Because I saw that toward the very end, she kind of got upset or triggered a little bit off, just to give it a
came out here to make sure that they don't take it even further. get what I'm saying? When people protest, they're supposed to go petition for a license and inform the police, hey, we're going to be protesting. We need you to be aware of that. So therefore the police can properly staff the event and make sure that it is safe and nobody gets hurt.
Even if the protest is against the police?
It's not against the police. The protest is against whoever shot those people and to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, the protest and them being against the police, that's the problem. Why are we against the police? Show me that my Black Lives Matter by not wasting my time on that bull. Show me that my Black Lives Matter with my son, 14 years old, gangbanging in JDH, in and out of jail with no mentor. He ain't got to have a black mentor. And half these black brothers out here don't give a damn about my son anyway. Half of them trying to kill him. And me too. I just had a black man get mad at me because I asked his girlfriend, what side do you identify with, your white side or black side? Because you got to choose. Oh, it's convenient for you to be this side today? Oh, it's convenient for you to be this side today? I'm like everybody else, they give a damn about us being black. They don't care about us being black. So to keep it all the way real, don't make it even harder for me.
You don't think Trump is racist?
Come again?
You don't think Trump is racist?
Oh, I can't stand Trump with a passion. But let me tell you one thing, I respect this gangster though. You know why? Because he gets his money.
Okay.
He gets his money. Period.
We have like completely different.
No, you don't. And we may have. But at the end of the day, tell me what it's like to be black.
I want to hear another person's perspective.
Yeah, it's my perspective, and you're laughing at it. That right there shows me that my life don't matter to you. You just chuckled.
I did not.
You just chuckled.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, then what was that? No, baby, you have it incorrect. I get paid more than you. And no, I don't have the same education as you, but I have experience, and it's called life. And if you would get some from behind this camera and come take a step on my side and know what it's like, that the moment you put that camera down and the moment you go home and shower and lay down and go to sleep, I'm still black. You will never know. Thank you.
She was burning. If I can make anyone's blood boil, hers was boiling. Like I had put it on broil or high on the stove. Okay, so she started asking me numerous of questions. I don't remember all from the dialogue, but what got me was she chuckled. She chuckled in the middle of me answering something about Trump or something or other. And I was like, oh, yeah, so you find this funny. It was like that black girl moment of like, oh, okay. You know, so I had to remember I can't put my finger up because that's not polite. But, you know, I really want to just be like, now, wait a minute. However, yeah, so it was quite interesting. Although I think she was expecting me to be on her team, a rah-rah chaos, and I was on team like, no, let's keep it all the way real, you know, and that means transparency. And so, yeah, Trump, I'm not a Trump, I'm not going to ever rock a Trump bumper sticker or even vote for him to a certain extent. However, what I will respect about Trump is that he gets his money, and it takes a skilled person with a different lens, completely different lens, right, to be able to acquire what all he's acquired throughout his duration of life and since he's been in the office, right? And I would like to say that I think I was more frustrated with that whole aspect of it, like, you know, like for example, when we were all supposed to get our the stimulus, and something happened because he called it back and wanted his face on the checks. It was all kind of rumors going around, but then like his sense of humor is quite funny too. Sometimes when you actually kind of watch him, like I'll laugh, like dude's funny. What? So you know, I mean,
He talks like just a regular person.
yeah, he's actually kind of hood, you know, like.
Yeah,
Trump got a little
he
gangster
is.
to him. Yeah, you know, he's all, man, whatever. I want to hear that. Yeah. In the middle of a meeting. You can't do that. He's like, I don't care, you know, like whatever. Next. Drink some water, you know, something like that. So,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And I like that about him because he just keeps it real. I mean, it's not always for my benefit or yours or anyone else's, but his person, who he is as a person, is different than his job and his point of view in life, right? And that's one thing that we have to look at too. And that's why I get why they don't talk politics and religion and we're at work and in schools, because I've had almost some knockdown, drag out fights about my Jesus, you know what I mean? To where it's like, oh, you like what you say, you know? And it's like, okay, that's not even holy, Raeona. You can't act like that. But then, like, who are you? You know, it's like, so I have to pump the brakes and bring it back, you know? And that's kind of like that moment between her and I. It was like, oh, no, you're not going to cut the camera off now, honey, because I heard, no, there's more to come. You know, like, slow your roll, boo. You know, and she was like, I didn't laugh. It's okay. No, it's all good. You know, she's like, well, I just can't wait for it to be my turn. And I'm like, oh, okay, yep, it will be once you hit stop. And I'm going to still keep going, you know, so.
Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.